I think all of you know by now that I'm a real big fan of sneak peeks. I love looking at things as they're being built and seeing how people are responding back to the market. And, the SoundStack platform, we've had a chance to look through so many aspects of it. And I'm such a big fan of what they're providing for hosting, what they're providing for broadcast to podcast. There's all the core, benchmarks there, all the core features and needs that they're hitting, and they're going about it in a really neat style to make it your own. Now, the ad serving we can go through, and it is really robust, but what's really exciting is this alpha product that we're going to talk through, and I'm going to pass it over to Jon to explain a little bit about their monetized product and specifically the connector setting they have here, because programmatic has become such a massive buzzword in podcasting, and I don't think that there are as many tools available for programmatic and for people to maximize their revenue as there need to be. So, Jon, tell us a little bit about the connectors tool.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. So SoundStack Connectors is an alpha product today, and we are working on very much rolling this out to customers in 2023, but we're really excited, and that's why I wanted to show you, because we've definitely talked about things like this in the past. SoundStack Connectors is basically a way to connect supply-based inventory, if it's going through our content delivery network for things like dynamic ad insertion and whatnot, to connect it to a third-party source to ultimately get ads. One of the dilemmas that we've seen, and also many of our publisher partners, is, yeah, you can work with all these great ad tech partners and whatnot, but there's not really a way for all of them to work well together. And that's ultimately where SoundStack Connectors come into play. So once we do the dynamic ad insertion on top of it, we have our ad decisioning layer, which Connector sits based on top of that. So with this, let's go ahead and take a look at the UI. You can create different connectors to connect to different third-party ad servers and different SSPs. And we do have this functionality today. It is just done through like a support ticket. So this is something that we would configure on behalf of the publisher. But a lot of what we want to do as a company, and the whole premise of the software that we're building, is to make things very easy, but ultimately to give that power directly to the publisher. And that's where SoundStack Connectors affords that functionality for anybody to basically go in and connect their supply-based inventory to a third party.
Well, let's break that down for a second. So, my inventory on your platform is the supply. It's the ad inventory. I'm the seller of my inventory. And an SSP, a supply-side platform, the advantage of that is that the SSP then allows that inventory to be broadcast out to DSPs, demand-side platforms, where the buyers use that. SSPs are motivated to compete with each other. And the reason they are is because they can create unique deals for unique segments of content representing you to other DSPs for always-on deals or preferential rates or whatnot. At the end of the day, if I have an SSP that I'm working with and I want to do a direct deal with someone on a DSP, they all can kind of accomplish the same goals. But there are tons of reasons why somebody would want multiple SSPs. They have different specialties. They appeal to different markets. They have different ad deals set up. Today in podcasting, it's really linear. I don't believe that the average podcaster, even on enterprise level, is exploring multiple SSPs. So what is particularly exciting about this for me is that this is a focus on your direct inventory, your supply, connecting not just to one SSP and them representing you to multiple solutions, but connecting to multiple SSPs that can then connect you to multiple solutions. And then when all of the responses come back, they can all compete, or you can stack them in different layers. This is how publishers make more money in programmatic. This is how they determine the value of their inventory, by making sure as many people as possible see it and the right people are representing them in the right environment.
Yep, no, you're exactly correct. And one of the big dilemmas with why a publisher doesn't want their inventory exclusively in a single SSP is, just who you can ultimately connect to on the DSP side, things like timeouts and whatnot. Latency between SSPs and DSPs and whatnot is a big thing, especially to take into consideration with programmatic. So if you have that supply opportunity and you're able to route it closer and quicker to who ultimately the buyers are, and also build your business as you wish, that's where SoundStack Connectors comes into play. So to take a quick look at an example of a connector, this is a publisher that is using Google Ad Manager, so GAM, as an ad server for trafficking their audio ads. So with Google Ad Manager, we just have a basic generic fast tag that's basically sending the supply-based request to GAM and makes it available to stitch into a podcast or to stitch into a live stream. And connectors can sit on top of both your live streams and podcasts as well. So it's really nice because you don't have to necessarily segment your inventory if you don't want to. You would control what supply inventory, so the different publishers that you want to have selected in this particular connector. And then lastly, the different positions that you ultimately want to route and send to GAM. So if you do this, you could connect it to GAM. You can connect it to like an AdsWiz ad server, Triton's Tap. If you have another ad server, or even the direct campaigns that you can interface directly through SoundStack Monetize as well. So it's really nice because you ultimately control that supply. You can figure out who and how you want to route it.
I really like that. And, VAST is something that I think we're probably pushing to its limits in podcasting. It's not meant to necessarily be the way that platform to platform connection happens to serve ads, but we're making it work. And the specs are starting to be improved to show that and push us in different directions. But what's neat about this in an alpha is that today I can create that relationship with the supply side platform. If I have the VAST tag, you guys are equipped to receive that VAST tag. I can then work with any SSP and get this rolling here. But it's in SoundStack's DNA to go through all of this and create those relationships as well. In the same way that SSPs and DSPs create the relationships, I see a future where SoundStack starts integrating these SSPs because those tags are very similar with different IDs that change per publisher. And then you're going to be able to create and offer partners that work with you the ability to explore more representation than some of your competitors. That's a really great opportunity to make sure everybody has a chance to be monetized.
Yep, no, absolutely. I mean, things like, macros and different ways of implementing and timeouts and windows of reporting ad impressions and all of that. That's all stuff that we're definitely taking into consideration and is part of our beta of SoundStack Connectors, which is going to be coming next. So very excited for that.
Yeah.
And then next, on top of SoundStack Connectors, just to show you this as well really quick, we do have the concept of yield management. So this is basically a lightweight SSP that can sit in front of your other SSPs and ad servers. So for this particular publisher, Stacker in the Morning, we have the pre-roll positions. You can really do different mediation strategies that you want relative to the zone positions. So we have two different mediation strategies. One is just a traditional waterfall, or you can basically stack rank these and it's going to call them in order based on if an ad is available or not. And then the other is first price. So if the buyer ultimately does support sending us a price, you can do things in front of other SSPs that already give you the best price depending on how it's configured to really holistically optimize and manage your inventory that way as well.
I love it. I love the ability for a publisher to make buyers compete in a programmatic setting. I mean, that's one of the key elements of programmatic.
Yep, no, absolutely. And it's very much to give the publisher the control and granularity and ultimately make them more revenue and control their destiny. So, and
this is by specific slot too. So you could have situations where maybe one of them is waterfall. You have a clear mindset of who needs to make a little bit more or who's going to send you a little bit more money or more fill, and they need to be a higher priority for the pre-roll, the mid-roll, or whatnot. But for the post-roll, you might want to do it as first price. So having that flexibility in an alpha product already, I'm excited to see where this ends up.
Yep. No, we're excited. It's a huge part of our 2023 strategy. And we're going to make some awesome stuff happen here at SoundStack. So
very cool. So, Jon, we had an awesome time going through this deep dive. I mean, we did the podcaster side with the white label, the fact that anybody out there could have their own hosting platform with ad serving, with programmatic, with all these capabilities. We dug a little bit into broadcast to podcast, and we ended with your alpha product about monetization, which on top of your dynamic ad insertion capabilities is really focused on programmatic. And I think programmatic, the team you have at SoundStack, is probably some of the leaders in audio programmatic, some of the people who built a lot of the foundational stuff there. So when you start to nerd out on that, it gets my nerd senses tingling because this is the next step. This is where we really need to focus. And while I think people are putting attention to it, it's very clear that this is a focus for SoundStack. I do want to end this off by saying that like the deep dives are a goal to show you products that I find interesting with companies that are really leading the space. And I think SoundStack is doing a great example there. But your specific needs are different than mine. And Jon and team are absolutely available to walk you through the platform to answer your specific questions. So I really want you to go to soundstack.com and reach out to them. Sign up for your own demo and walk through it, because all of these pieces can be mix and match. You can use certain aspects and not others. You can white label it. You can dig into it. You can see what works for you. And honestly, you can challenge the team, because it's very clear from the features that are already in here so early on in this product that they are here to listen to their clients and work with their clients to meet the needs that aren't being met elsewhere. So, Jon, anything else you want to say before we wrap up this fantastic deep dive?
I just want to say thanks for having me on your show. And this was an awesome hour for the deep dive. So appreciate it. We'll have other stuff to show you next year as well.
I'm very excited for that. Thanks, everyone.